Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I'd like to do some work on this fusion project that is not going too well. Every year I'm trying to add some trees, but every year I got some trees that died. But last year in summer I had a quite good idea, and that's what I wanted to show you now. So during the fall I'm always trying to collect seeds from whatever I can find, and most of the time this is Carpinus and field maple and stuff like that, and then I plant them, and as you see they're starting to grow right now. It's the well, we are half March now, so at the end of the spring they will be as high as this, and they will have one or two good strong mature leaves. Of course the root system is very basic at this point, so that's also something very interesting. So the fact that these little seedlings have very small root systems, you can transplant them quite easily. So you see, this is one that a seed from last year, and I planted it in the middle of summer, I think, next to the trunk here, and these ones are doing quite well. So I intend to do the same and get as much as I can of the young seedlings here, and then leave this whole project for a couple of years so that it can grow. In a year or two or three or four it will probably get as high as the tree is now, and I can probably start the fusion again. So I think this is maybe the best idea. The younger the trees you use, the more success you will have. It takes of course a little longer, but if you are always trying to start all over again, you're going to get nowhere. So because I want this to be left alone for quite some time, I need to put it in a bigger pot, and I'm going to see what I can do to keep the tree in the same pot for a few years. So I'm planning on using this pot, which you see is a whole lot deeper. It's a little bit larger too. Well, it's not the most beautiful pot you can imagine, but I already filled it with soil that is well, quite rich, lots of organic material. And if you look, this whole thing fits into that. Now, of course, I'm not going to put this pot in this pot. It would make no sense. Well, it would for temperature purposes, would keep it cooler in summer. But the idea is that I will put this tree in this pot. But first of all, I'm going to put this in the pot, so that when the roots are growing, they will not grow straight down, but a little bit to the side, and then dig deeper, and so I will have a better root spread, which is of course the whole idea of this fusion thing. So when the tree grows, that's the plan. After a year or two, it will probably start to make a big root mat at the bottom. I just can cut away the root mat, add fresh soil, and don't disturb the roots too much. So I'm going to get this out of the pot, see what we have, and then we'll go on, of course. So this is going to be a little tricky because I don't want to crush or lose the new little ones. So this might not be easy to get it out. But if I can loosen one side, it would be a whole lot easier. Yeah, so first thing that I noticed, I will have to find the drainage screen somewhere here. Okay, so that's not bad. I got that one. Now I'm going to loosen the whole thing. and try to get rid of the lowest root mat. And I'm trying not to touch the surface this time, because the little trees here might just have surface roots. I'm done loosening the roots here at the side, and I did not touch the surface too much. But now, of course, I think I will have to do something about this root mat here, because this is not what I want. Maybe I should cut some off, but I'm not sure, because these plants seem to have some difficulty. Maybe it's better just to open it up and let the roots find their way into the new pot. These are probably not roots that I will ever use. But maybe this is no, I think I will have to get some off, because it will be difficult otherwise. I'm just gonna get off this outer ring. Because if I do not encourage the tree now to make roots a little closer to the trunk, it will cause all kinds of problems in the future, that there are no feeder roots close to the trunk, and then it will not work. So I think this is okay now. I didn't remove a whole lot, but I think just enough. So I'm going to get some soil now and put the tree in the new pot. So this is the new pot. I'm going to add a little soil, but just 1 centimeter, and mount it. And now I'm gonna put the tree on it. You see, it's quite brittle, this whole thing. And now, of course, because I do not want to move the tree again, I can start working the old soil in the new soil. And the rest I will fill up with some fresh and very nutritious soil, like this. So it's not going to be too big of a shock for this tree. So while I'm doing this, some of the new seedlings are coming loose, which was to be expected, of course. But yeah, just have to cover them up. You see, the trees are starting to grow now. It means that this is a good moment to do that. They are very strong. I'm also trying to keep in consideration that this tree should be as straight in the pot as possible, because I still have to define a front and things like that. So by keeping it straight, it gives more options. Here we have a piece of a dead tree. Okay, so I'm removing the final air pockets. Here is the end of the foam trunk, but it does not matter, the foam trunk, you know. Once the trees are growing around, It does not matter if it is in the soil or not. You see, you can always pot the tree up with your fingers, but when you use your chopstick, you will discover little holes, and then, well, that's quite a big hole. It really makes a difference. You have to fill these holes completely, because where there is no soil, there will be no roots. But for some strange reason, this whole thing is moving by itself, and by the end of the growing season all the holes are filled, but it's best to avoid that. So I think I'm done, and as you might see, I left almost 2 centimeters of pot. So when I water the tree in summer and it's very dry, I can put it full of water, and then the water will slowly get into the tree, except instead of just going to the sides, and well, then of course the tree is not watered well, and that's what's causing all these troubles the last years when it's too dry. So now the top parts. So there are a few good things. We have a few major trees that are alive. So this side is starting to come along quite well. Here we have nothing, so I must say that half of the tree is completely, well, just a piece of foam at the moment. So this is of course not what we want. I know that on video it is extremely difficult to see that, well, we are absolutely nowhere here. Let's say it that way. But slowly we'll get to it. I think that the best thing that we should emphasize now is that if you do fusion project, use a deep pot and let the trees grow, get healthy, and then you can work with it. So one thing that is sure is that I have to see what's going on there now. So I'll have to get rid of all this old raffia and then remove the dead parts, because they are of no use. They just take away light. They just will block the fusion between the living parts. So that's what I have to do now. Just gonna take some scissors and remove raffia, which is of course not very interesting, and I'll see you when this is all cleaned up. So while I was undoing the raffia, I noticed that the top is fused, which is of course very nice, but of course that's the only really positive thing, because you see, even in the fusion there are dead parts that I should remove. But these two are fused, well, okay. So now I have to work my way down and remove everything that's dead. So there's quite some dead material here. And of course the surface is also full of dead stuff. And I'm not going to tie this back together, because what I want to do now is give the tree as much light as possible, encourage new budding, and that is only possible when you leave as much light as possible. So you see, there's a whole lot of stuff that died off, and that has to be removed. But there's also a few things that are doing okay, so well, let's stay positive. So at this point I cannot say that this is a complete success, but it does not really matter, you know. It's just fun doing it and working on it. one day maybe the whole tree will be surrounded by this magnificent little Carpinus trees, and the roots base will be absolutely spectacular. So until that day I will continue planting little seedlings by just making a opening, getting them in, clamping them, and then wait that they grow like these ones did. And well, it may be faster than expected. So in the meantime, well, that's what I'm gonna do, and I will keep you updated on this tree, of course. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.